Rise of 1% podcast, where you're going to discover the strategies, the tools, and the insights that dominate and get to the top 1% of your industry. I am G Bass, alongside me, JC Williams.
Yes, sir. Man, what's going on, G?
Man, I'm doing great. Wonderful. Blessed. How about yourself?
Oh, man, definitely blessed as well. Definitely blessed as well. You know, I'm excited for another episode here.
Absolutely.
That we got coming to you guys. You know, like I said, this is somebody I really have a great amount of respect for.
Yes.
So I'm definitely excited for this one, man.
Absolutely, absolutely. So we got a special guest in the building. This guy right here is definitely a rapid business growth strategist, I would say. Definitely specializing in helping coaches and consultants with selling more of their high-ticket stuff, specifically on the internet. This guy has a client success story list that goes for days and days and days and days and days, right? But he's definitely crushing it. Great friend of mine, brother of mine, one of my first coaches as well in this space, and doing some wonderful things. He's also an author.
Yep, absolutely.
As well.
Absolutely.
And like I say, just doing some great things. So today we actually have on the Rise of 1% podcast none other than Mr. Marquell Russell.
Appreciate y'all.
Absolutely, man.
Appreciate y'all, man.
Yeah, man.
I'm blessed to be here, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Like I said, man, long time, man.
Yeah, bro. It's been a minute, bro. It's been a minute, man. We used to be, you know, things get busy, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely.
Definitely glad to catch up, man. So, with that being said, Marquell, let's just start off for those that may not be familiar with you. I don't see how many people came in the internet space, but the ads are always running. But for those that may not necessarily be familiar with you, just tell them a little bit about who you are, a little bit about the journey thus far, and your business.
Yeah. So basically, I'm Marquell Russell. I got introduced. I always been an entrepreneur, right? I grew up as an entrepreneur. I jumped out in the streets early. So my first businesses was like taking out the trash and going to the neighborhood, knocking on the doors, taking out the trash. We started moving to the neighborhood. So I was the dude knocking on the doors, asking, can I take your trash out? I mean, not take your trash out, cut your grass. And then I, started figuring out what the real money was at that time and started selling some drugs. So I started selling some drugs, dropped out of high school in 10th grade, started going to jail. That kind of went that route. Started my own entertainment company where I started doing like artist management, club promotions all throughout the city. That's where we connected.
Right, exactly.
So I used to do an industry night. Me and my guy Rick, the host, and Rick introduced me to G.
Right.
So that's how we met, because that was when you had the hard hitters.
Right.
And they used to come through. So that's when we had that going on.
Yeah.
And then when I was in the club one night at my partner BA, you might remember BA. I was at BA mixtape release party, and that's when I met Chad. So Chad walked up on me. He thought I was actually Windsor.
Yeah. Oh.
You know what I'm saying? I knew Chad's face.
Right.
But he a little younger than me.
Right.
So I knew his face. He knew my face, but he actually thought I was Windsor. So he walked up, started talking to me. He was like, he basically said, the split spiel. He was like, how many people you know who got a cell phone?
Right.
And I was like, everybody I know got a cell phone. You know what I'm saying? And it was him and little Anthony. You remember Anthony?
Yeah.
His partner Anthony? They was together. So they in there kicking it, drinking, you know what I'm saying? So I'm like, all right, what's going on? So they like, who you know got a cell phone? I'm like, everybody I know got a cell phone.
Yeah.
And he was like, well, what if you got paid every time they paid their bill? And I was like, that'll be dope. You know what I'm saying? So, he was like, well, one of my mentors gonna be in town, Wednesday from Nigeria. They're making millions of dollars. They expanded in the area. They're looking for some other leaders to get some money. So I'm like, all right, bet.
Yeah.
So we went Wednesday. DJ went with me. My brother DJ. We went out there. DJ got the strap on him and all that. He like, where we going, bro? Cause we going way out in Riverdale.
Right.
So we pull up to the house. Cause me, I'm like, all right, they talking about all this money. But I pull up, I'm like, the house is decent. So I'm like, okay. See some nice cars outside. So I'm like, I'm just peeping the whole scene out. So I'm like, all right, things, adding up a little bit already. So we get inside, everybody dressed nice. They start breaking down the presentation. We're like, we got, this is your time to get in front of this, big wealth transfer. You know what I'm saying? All you got to do is get two, and then they'll get two, and they'll get two. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, well, I can definitely get two. I know a lot of people. If I can fill up a club, you know what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure I can get two.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So they was like, you're making all this money. They were like, imagine being in the room, when Google first started and Facebook first started. It was like, that's what this is. And I'm like, bruh. I'm like, this legit.
work.
So I'm like, all right. So they start talking about the video telephone technology, the DTA box, and how VoIP about to take over, and we can get this money. I'm like, man, this crazy. And they start talking about Chad, how Chad was already doing well. Because he had first transition into network marketing.
Right.
But you know, in network marketing, they always make things larger than what they really is. You know, not saying Chad wasn't doing his thing, but you know how it go.
Exactly.
So Chad always been a hustler, so he was gonna make it happen. So I'm like, all right, bet. So I paid my way. I'm like, it's $500 to get started. I'm like, y'all take cash, and it was like, well, now you got to get a card. So they showed me how to get a Walmart prepaid card. I jumped in, paid half for DJ Way to get in. So I'm like, I got one. So, you know, I went to Rick and I went to everybody. I went to Chris, who was managing Dancers Elite at the time. Yeah. Everybody who I respected. Right. Everybody told me it was a pyramid scheme. I had got tricked. You know, the whole 9 yards. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, all right. But I showed my mom, and she was like, you know, if I market myself, it could work. Yeah. So I'm like, all right, bet. So I jumped in. I started doing my thing. At this time, I ain't know about the internet. Well, I knew about the internet because Rick used to be on Facebook and Twitter, and he set me up a Twitter and a Facebook because that's how we used to promote the club. Right. But you know what we had going on doing then, like I wasn't finna be posting on social media because I had a whole different thing going on at the time. Right. So I was like, I ain't finna move like that, Rick. Just post this club stuff and like whatever you got going on Twitter and Facebook, like that's your business. That's your, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, you just have that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So we was doing that. And then so that's all I had. So when Chad started saying like we can use social media and promote the business, you know, at that time marketing to us was just spamming social media, exactly. Just DMing as many people you can into Facebook. Like say you can't send them messages, and we excited. We think we marketing. We like, bro, we sent out 50 messages a day. Facebook said we can't even. This was before Facebook. I think we started Facebook jail. Because they were like, you got to slow down. So at that time, we hit our goal for the day. So that's how we was marketing, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Chad had gave me a laptop. Because I'm like, even when I was like, after everybody had told me I was tripping, I was kind of like, maybe they did get me. So I'm just going to fall back and I'm just keep my movement going on, what I got going on. But Chad was still hitting me up, trying to help me. Deontay started reaching out, trying to see what I had going on, trying to help me out. And I'm like, this weird. Because where I'm from, like, folks ain't just trying to help you get no money. Right. After you spend something, they got you already. Yeah. So I'm like, it's weird. So they you know what I'm saying? So they was like, they wanted to help me, and you know, this is in the third. They'll do some presentations for me, whatever the case may be. And Chad invited me to a conference, and it happened to be here in Atlanta. So I was like, all right, bet. So I went down there and saw Chad, the rest of the team, Shatori, and everybody. So I went down there, and it was like 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 people there, mostly black people. So I'm like, all right. They could have got me, but ain't no way they could have got all these people. Right, ain't no way. It got to be some legitimacy to it. So you know, as y'all know, man, them conferences do something to you. Right. They do. Yeah. So I came out. I don't know what happened, but I came out the conference like full speed ahead. I hit a couple ranks. I hit ED. Deontay reached out to me then. He was like, yeah, man. You know, Deontay be popping. He was like, yeah, man, you know, you hit ED now, man. Now I hit ET. That's what I had hit. Okay. Executive trainer. Right. You know what I'm saying? So Deontay reached out to me like, yeah, man, you know, now you can start working with me now, man. So, you know, he's supposed to be the man at this time. So I'm like, I hit bet. You know what I'm saying? So he was like, this is what we had going on. You know, write your list out, you know, talk to everybody, call everybody you know, ask them this, and the third, tell them we expanding, talk to everybody who come within 3 feet of you. Right. You know, I'm like, bro, it was weird for me because now I speak on stages and all the different types of stuff, right? But then I'm like, I wasn't really talking to folks. Like, even when I host the clubs, I just had to be on that Patron and all that to really do that because I'm like more to myself. I don't really like... at that point, I ain't walking up to you in the mall trying to pitch you on no opportunity. You're right. That's just and I'm definitely not bringing people to my house that I don't know to do a presentation and talking about no big money. And I'm not finna bring them to Chad house because my people who I was around, like Chad pull up, Chad talking about getting all this money, like these dudes gonna double back. Right. So I'm like, I gotta figure out another way. Yeah. So it started plateau. I ran the folks to talk to, and somebody on my team, it was Desiree actually. She sent me a link. It was like, check this out. And so I clicked it, and it was a 4-part video series that said you don't have to, do home parties. You don't have to talk to strangers. You can attract people to you and build your downline. Magnetic sponsor. Right. That was Mike Dillard book, right? So I'm like, okay. So I watched all 4 videos. I'm like, okay, I see what's going on. And this is my first introduction to internet marketing. Like, I had never bought nothing online before. So I read this after the 4 videos. He started pitching the Magnetic Sourcing book, and it was like $40 for an ebook. But at this point, I don't even know what an ebook is. You feel me? So I'm like, all right. So I'm reading it. I read the sales letter like 50 times. And I was like, man, I ain't getting nothing to lose, man. Let me go and grab this thing. Put it on the prepaid card. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I bought the ebook. And then took me to the upsells and all the upsells. But, I just had enough on the prepaid card just to get the book.
Right.
So I'm like, all right. So I started buying all the other stuff. I'm just like, dang, this is crazy. I'm like, man, these white boys getting all this money online like this. Yeah. This is crazy. You know what I'm saying? And I can just buy a course and they going to give me the whole blueprint. You crazy. Yeah. So I'm like, all right, bet. So I'm buying all the trainings up. But I ain't implementing nothing though. So I'm just buying courses, buying trainings, implementing nothing. I got notes up to here.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But I ain't implementing nothing. So I literally, at this point, I was like, all right, I'm gonna figure this stuff out. And when I was like, all right, I'm gonna commit to this thing. I ended up getting pulled over. I had a warrant in Fulton County. They locked me up, and I'm sitting in the holding cell, and I'm just seeing how everybody moving. I'm like, man, they jump for the birds, man. Like, I'm done getting locked up. So when I get out, I'm just gonna chill on the street stuff and just go all in and figure this thing out. With this internet, and I know I can figure it out. I figured out the drug game. I figured out this. I always figured it out. So I know I can figure this out.
Right.
So I went through that whole phase. I call it the Nipsey hustle phase now because I watched the interview with Nipsey, and Nipsey said when he got into the music, he was in the streets and he was trying to do the music.
Right.
But he was like, it didn't pop until he just said, I'm gonna go all in on the music. So he went 2 years and without being in the streets, he ran out of money. And he was just being in the studio, and everybody was used to him having money, but he wasn't getting no money then. So I went through that same transition. Like, I went through all my savings, buying courses, buying trainings, going to events, wasn't getting no money in the streets because I was like, I'm gonna chill on that. And then Vanessa she was a bartender then, so she got me a new apartment. I got evicted from my apartment. She was paying the bills at this $400 a month spot off Washington Road. And I'm crazy. I'm sitting around trying to figure this stuff out. I'm still like, I'm gonna figure this thing out. And then I bought a course. One time I got Adam, and he had a conversation with me, and he was like, look, bro, just pick one thing. Get focused on that one thing. You know what I'm saying? But in fact, if I rewind a little bit, G was actually one of the folks who I recruited too at the moment. Because with my whole process, when I'm going through everybody I know, I show up to G. Yeah. And G like, I'll let you know, bro. You know what I'm saying? But then we had something at Lisa house. Right. And I forgot how I did it, but somehow I got G to Lisa house. And G was like, yeah, man, let's go on and bust this move now. He saw it was real then. You know what I'm saying? So Vanessa paying all the bills or whatever, and then Shawty told me, Adam was like, look, man, just pick one thing, focus on that. At that time, it was blogging. So I was creating a piece of blog content every day, just teaching what I was learning. Because in the book, in the Magnetic Sourcing book, he said, look, if you want to build a network marketing business, the best people to market to is network marketers because they already buy network marketing opportunities. Right. So I was like, all right, bet. So I started creating content for network marketers. I started generating a few leads here or there. Then I just started teaching it. Like, I got 3 leads a day. And I started teaching that how I got 3 leads. And then I got 5 leads a day and 10 leads a day. And I was just teaching the whole process, you know what I'm saying? And then I started recruiting people on Facebook. So now I started teaching people how to recruit on Facebook. And that's kind of how I started building the brand. And I started figuring it out. So fast forward, I stopped doing network marketing. Well, I did About Sales, and then I did another one. I was like, you know what? I'm going to chill on network marketing. Just do the online stuff. That's what when I hit you and I was like, look, bro, that's when I left Links. And I hit you and I'm like, look, bro, I'm finna bust another move. Right. You know what I'm saying? I just wanted to let you know. Yeah. By that time, Chad them had already got to bro though. You know what I'm saying? Because I had hit Chad first and I'm like, look, Chad, you my guy. So I want to just let you know the move I'm finna make. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So by that time, they were like, I need to hit G because they already knew G was a hustler. So they was like, let me get bro. So I don't know what they told bro, but it was all good to see my guy. I'm like, look, I'm just finna bust another move. Yeah. That's when I went to Buy Sales Work with Said. Did that a little while. I only went over with Said because I wanted to learn the internet marketing stuff. But Buy Sales was like, hey, just do shake parties. Like, we ain't doing no internet marketing stuff. So I'm like, all right. So I left there. I got hit 2 ranks. They told me, trying to get me to go get the BMW with my own money. I'm like, nah, bro. Y'all told me, y'all give me the BMW at this rank. So left there. I was like, I'm going to chill. I went to FES and worked with Rico for a minute. And then I was like, you know what? I'm just going to chill on this network. Because they started having those chargebacks and all that. So I was like, all right, I'm cool. So I left network marketing, was straight online. And that's when I was really figuring the internet stuff out. when that's when you reached out. I'm like, bro, what you got going on with this internet?
Yeah.
So that's when I had figured the internet stuff out. And then I ended up doing my last network marketing deal, which was my econ. And I became the number 1 recruiter out of the company, out of 50,000 people, just straight online. And then great company. I don't got nothing bad to say about network marketing because it saved my life. But I was looking at the numbers and was like, dang, I got a lot of production going on over here, but the numbers just don't make sense.
Yeah.
So I'm like, if I just go all in on my own thing, I make way more money. I'm like, I can get 1,000 people paying me $97 a month. That's 97. That's that's a significant amount. Right. So I get blah blah blah. So I saw when I was like, I get 1,000 people in a network marketing opportunity. That ain't gonna be much, especially if they ain't placed right. So that's when I was like, let me branch out and do my own thing. That's when we started ISU.
Exactly.
That's where ISU came from. You know what I'm saying? Right. So that's how we started that, and then they just started bubbling. So now people start seeing, okay, these dudes great at getting leads, getting clients. We built the coaching business. G was actually one of my first coaching clients. You know what I'm saying? I was charged what I was charging in, like embarrassed to even say online right now, but G jumped on it.
Right.
Bro made the move. You know what I'm saying? So G jumped on it. Yeah. And then I got really good at it. You know what I'm saying? People started reaching out, asking what we was doing. Right. And then we just started teaching a lot of people wanting to come speak. And then we just decided, okay, client attraction is just gonna be our thing. Fast forward, so that's how we came up now with the Client Attraction University. We done spoke like all over the country, the UK, Toronto. And we just finished our 3-day experience. We had like 47 people because we do like an implementation day. 3 days where we build out your entire client attraction system. Where they build it out, we just do it with you. Right. Launch the ads, the whole 9 yards. So we did it over 3 days. We just had 47 people. We just ended that yesterday. So yeah, bro, we just been having a lot of fun with this thing, bro. So yeah, it's been real.
Dang.
Yeah. Hopefully that wasn't too long, fellas.
Yeah, man, definitely chill. Because I wanted to hear that journey because we all got some type of relation to the same type of journey to where we at right now.
Absolutely.
And but I want to hit on some of the things. So I'm gonna go back a little bit. Like when you was, to me, it's like you was testing in all these different network marketing companies to see how well was the internet marketing working for you. So like the type of leads, what type of leads were you getting in? Like was they like network marketers?
When I was doing network marketing stuff?
Yeah, when you were doing network marketing.
It was network marketers. So I was doing the network marketing and then I started getting my language right. Because typically in network marketing, they tell you to say stuff that just sound weird and it sound network marketing. So people automatically turned off. So I just started getting good at it. Because me, bro, I always been like, if I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna like be the best in the world at it, right? So when I was in the streets, I'm like, I used to study all the big kingpins. And when I got in network marketing, it was the same thing. I was like buying all the stuff. I'm like, what is these dudes doing differently? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Because the company I was in, they teach one thing, and they like, don't listen to nobody else. Just do the stuff that's duplicatable. Exactly. And I'm like, I'm just not wired like that. If you tell me I got to do something, I'm just wired to do the opposite. You know what I'm saying? I'm just wired like that, bro.
I feel you.
So that's when I started figuring out. So so a lot of people come to me, they were network marketers because network marketers, they buy network marketing opportunities, and most people, they join a network marketing opportunity, but they don't got no leadership. Somebody signed them up who didn't know what they was doing. Right. So they always jumping around looking for something new anyway. Which is a catch-22 because now you recruit somebody who always jumping around anyway, so it's like filling the leaky bucket. You know what I'm saying? So it was network marketers at that particular time. So
it was like you said, your main content was blogging?
Yeah, I was just doing blogging at that point because I wasn't even really comfortable enough to do video. I didn't feel good about doing videos at that point. So it was just a blog. I had did my first blog, watching some videos, built my own blog myself. It didn't look all that good. I was like, I got this thing going. You know what I'm saying?
How you promote it though? Like, what you put it on any type of sites or anything like that?
So at that time, you know what? So at that time, it was you posted on your social media. We had some little tools that you can use like I forgot what some of them tools was, but I know one site you could use like e-zine articles. I don't even know if e-zine articles is big even no more. But you can take your blog post, put it on e-zine articles. You can have a link back to your blog. You can do some other stuff, and then I started learning some SEO stuff. So then you start getting, and for those who don't know what SEO is, like the search engine optimization. So people can find your blogs, by searching things. So like MLM tips or how to grow a network marketing business. So I started ranking for stuff like that. And then I started learning the video marketing game. And I just went crazy with that. So I learned how to rank these videos on YouTube and on Google. Bro, I started like doing like 5-6 videos a day. I just went crazy with it. just ranking them. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
yeah.
Mark, well, talk a little bit about what got you over, not doing video. Because like you said, you didn't want to dive straight into video. You were just doing blogging. So what got you into saying, you know what, I got to get into doing these videos?
So I think for me, man, I think the biggest thing that was holding me back was like, who gonna listen to the black dude? Because it's white dominated. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, who gonna listen to the black dude with gold teeth, tats, high school diploma? So I had all that going on in my head. Mm-hmm. But then I realized that that's actually, my secret weapon. Like that's my biggest advantage because what I've been through in my life and just what I've experienced, that's like these cats ain't got nothing on that. A lot of them, not all of them, but a lot of them like soft. You know what I'm saying? So it's like if I can come through that, like I can dominate this, but I ain't really look at it that way. You know what I'm saying? So from when I first started doing videos, if you look back at my older videos, bro, I used to have to smoke me a blunt before. That when I used to smoke weed real heavy. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So if you look at some of my older videos, like I used to have to smoke me one before I did the video. That helped me get over here early. I smoked me one. I'm talking about I'm high. If you look at some of my old videos,
your eyes low,
bro, I'm high. I'm talking about no eye drops. I got one video, bro. If you go, I swear, if you go look at my old YouTube videos, bro, I got one up. It was called self-employment tips because I saw that was a keyword that people was searching. So I did a video, and now I'm in this spot. Vanessa had to find me a spot that I could $400 a month on Washington Road in Clubhouse. We got rats, roaches, everything. I had got me a little bookshelf. So I put it together myself, so it was all bad. It was like leaning a little bit, but I used to still be there like, hey, welcome to my my beautiful home here. It's my library. You know what I'm saying? You gotta speak it. You feel me? Yeah. So I'm like, you my beautiful home. You know what I'm saying? It's my library. Yeah. And if you're watching this video right now, you obviously want to know about self-employment tips. Right. Obviously. You know what I'm saying? I'm high, bro. People in the comments like, man, this dude high. Who's supposed to listen to him? Nobody gonna listen to him, bro. So, but that used to get me through early on, bro. And I just started getting them reps in. And then, that personal development, bro, it started helping you see yourself different, think different, and then you just start, elevate. But you just get started.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And see, I feel like that's one of your key things because you do a lot with the inner youth.
Yep.
And talking with them, and like you said, that's our secret weapon that we have because when you could look in a camera or you looking through social media, you looking at somebody that look like you, they got the tats, they got the whatever it is, and then they talking something else other than selling dope, being in the streets or something like that. It's all automatic gonna catch our attention.
100%, bro. 100%, and that's really what it's all about, bro. Because especially in our space, man, it's like it ain't really enough of us doing it. So when I started doing it, it was like, because most people weren't even accepting it. Even the people in like the network marketing who was in my companies, they were like, well, just do the stuff that's duplicatable. The internet stuff ain't really duplicatable. Right. And I'm like, I hear you, but it's like, that's where it's at. If you want to get in front of an unlimited amount of people, you got to figure this internet thing out. And if you ain't on the internet, you really ain't in business.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Great stuff. So let's talk about the transition from network marketing into Infinite Success University. So you started off Infinite Success University, of course, as a community membership type of site. Like you said, you was charging $97 a month, train on lead generation.
Yep. And at first we started, it was $9.97 a month. Yeah. I don't know how Lonnie talked me into it. He was like, man, just do $9.97. I'm like, all right, bro.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I didn't know it was that cheap.
Yeah, bro. It started out with $9.97 a month, bro.
Oh, wow. Okay. Nah, I didn't know that.
Yep. That's what we started with, $9.97, bro. Straight up.
Wow. So what made you go to 97?
I was like, man, this is crazy. People like that was like, man, these folks want too much for $9. You know what I'm saying? They just want they want you to get on the phone with them and all that. So I'm like, I'm gonna increase this thing to 97 because it's just easier. It's just like, all right, if I get X amount, because at that point, the only goal at that point, you just want to get to 10,000 a month. So you like, that's like the buzz number. You like 10,000. How much you want to make 10,000 a month? We get 10,000 a month. It's gonna change my life.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, it's just easier to get to 10,000 a month at $97 a month because you need less people. You know what I'm saying? Yep. So. And Lisa used to always say, well, if I make $20,000 a month, that's a bad month for me. And I used to be blown away. So I'm like, all right, let me get to $10,000 a month. And then, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, I think I just was like, let me just increase this thing, bro. And then we started doing the affiliate stuff too. So it's like, if you are an ISU member, you can be an affiliate, promote it. And now we just kind of build our own thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And like, you still doing Infinite Success University now?
No, so our company now is called Client Attraction University. You know what I'm saying? So it's like it's like on steroids. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like next level. So it's like, I mean, it's like day and night, bro, to be honest with you. So it's like, yeah. So we just took it to a whole nother level. It's like more high ticket, more premium, and it was just our whole system, what we learned about scaling the coaching and consulting business. You know, when it comes to lead generation, getting clients and ads and high ticket sales and all that. So it's just like, yeah, it's next level.
So let's backtrack real quick, right, bro. So you went from Infant Success University, like you said, you had the $97 a month membership, and then you had the group coaching. Well, it was one-on-one coaching.
Yep,
one-on-one. It was a group coaching call a month. I remember that.
Yep.
I was a part of that.
Exactly.
Right. And so, what made you transition into just doing the high ticket coaching and taking it more to a group format and stuff like that?
Good question. So basically, people started asking me to coach them, so I started doing some one-on-one coaching, and then you know, I was charging. I forgot what I was charging, but you know, people weren't showing. People was going okay, but sometimes people weren't showing up to the calls, and then they'll show up to the call late. You know what I'm saying? And then I sit on the call 15, 20 minutes, and then I get off, and then they'll text me like, "Hey, I'm on the call." And I'm like, "Bro, you got to reschedule. Like, you know, I'm doing something else now."
Right.
So I was like, "All right." Then I started learning about group coaching, and I'm like, "All right, let me tell the clients I'm working with one-on-one." I just start easing them into it. So I'm like, "All right, we're gonna have a group call. We're gonna do this one-on-one call, and then we're gonna do a group call. You know, once a month or whatever." Just start like testing it out, and then I started doing that, and then it just rolled into like all group coaching. So I was like, all right, it's group coach. I'm charging like $300 a month. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
I remember.
And you remember that, right? And then I was like, you know what? They're paying $300 a month. And I spoke to this one lady, and I'm like, you know, it's $500 a month. And she was like, okay. So I'm like, all right, bet. So I'm like, this thing $500 a month now. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So, and that's how we initially got to the 6-figure mark doing that coaching model. And then I just started learning about the high ticket stuff. So I didn't really know that you can charge $3,000, $10,000, and so forth and so on. Because I'm like, this is what I'm doing. I'm just charging way little, right, and getting paid way less, working way harder. Yeah. And then when I learned that just completely changed the game for me. Like that changed my whole life. That changed the whole business when I just shifted into that high ticket stuff, bro. Like that changed everything instantly.
Right. So before you even did the high ticket, so did you just get rid of the one-on-one? Like you weren't doing any more one-on-one coaching?
So I had shifted into the group coaching before I even got into high ticket. So I had shifted from the one-on-one coaching, it started merging into the group, and then took that into the high ticket stuff. So I took what I was doing in a group and then rolled that into the high ticket stuff.
Okay, so so when I'm saying like no one able to access you one-on-one at all, even when you was doing the group coaching, like if they had any questions, everything had to be done right there in that group coaching.
For the most part, yep.
And you got a private Facebook group.
Of course, yeah. We had a Facebook group, and of course you can submit a support email and that type of thing, yeah. Right. So it's like you get one-on-one, but in a group setting. Yeah. You feel me? So it's still like I'm working with you one-on-one, but we're gonna do it in the group setting once I learn how that model works.
Okay. Okay.
Exactly. Because a lot of times you start to see, I'm pretty sure, Marquel, you've seen this over and over again. You get asked the same questions from everyone.
Exactly.
So you might as well just do it on a group of all these one-on-one.
And that's literally what I did. I took what I was doing one-on-one.
Right.
Because every client you come in, you're going to like, all right, let's get your messaging right. Let's get this right. Let's get this right. Let's get your funnel right. Let's get your ads right. So it's like, it's the same thing. It's the same. You ain't never get no unique questions. Right. So I took what I was doing. I just unpacked that and turned it into a high ticket program. But my first high ticket program was it's called Lead Attraction Mastery. You know what I'm saying? You probably remember that too. So I turned it into Lead Attraction Mastery, what I was doing one-on-one, and now that became, I think I started off at, I think that was like 7,000 or something like that.
All right. So talk a little bit about what gave you the confidence, Marquel, to get into selling high ticket. Because a lot of times I know people struggle with a confidence issue in terms of even wanting to charge high prices for the value that they have to offer. So what gave you your confidence, and maybe even some of your clients, what's the process they go through to even, feel, I guess you could say, get a little bit more comfortable with selling high ticket?
So I think for me, I think I just felt like I was good at what I was doing at the time. And to be honest with you, I wasn't, I guess the biggest thing was like I had invested like $9,000 to learn how to do high ticket. So I'm like, well, first of all, I got to get that back. Right. You know what I'm saying? So me knowing I had to get that back, You know what I'm saying? That gave me the confidence because I had to get that back. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So at first, when I first made the first sale, I just read the script.
Yeah.
Like, literally verbatim. And it was like, all right. And I was like, okay, it's on now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it was just that. You know what I'm saying? Because I always tell people, like, you never have confidence before you do the thing.
Right.
Confidence comes last. You feel me? So I learned this from Dan Sullivan. He basically got this the 4 C's for confidence. He was like, first you gotta commit. Like you make the commitment, right? And then you had the courage. So you the commitment, then the courage, because you're scared to do something, but you do it anyway.
Right.
When you do it anyway, that's courage.
Right.
Not like not being scared,
Right.
but it's like being scared and doing it anyway.
Right.
So you had the courage. Then you had the courage and you do it. Then you get the capability and you realize, okay, I got the capability. You feel me? So you're like, okay, I am capable of doing this.
Right.
I am capable of selling high ticket. I am capable of doing the podcast. I am capable of doing ads or speaking on stage or whatever. It's the same thing all the time. I'm capable of talking to girls and getting the phone number.
Right.
And then that leads to the confidence.
Confidence part.
You just do more of it. You
Right.
feel me? So that's really how I got it. So I ain't had the confidence before. I was just like, let me test this thing out. Like, what's the worst that can happen?
Yeah.
And now, in terms of with my clients, the biggest thing I really help them understand is like, you're not really selling your time. A couple things. You're not selling your time, you're selling the outcome. So if you're amazing at something and you can help people get results, what does it really cost them if they don't pay you? It's going to cost them more not paying you. So really helping them understand like the value. Like, because people say, well, I'm just getting started offering coaching. I'm like, well, how long has it took you to develop this skill? Well, 10, 15, 20 years. I'm like, if you charge $10,000, like, is that not worth it? You know what I'm saying? They don't got to go through everything you went through to figure this out. So really just helping them understand you're not selling your time, you're selling the outcome. And people are paying you for the outcome, not your time.
Right.
And when you sell a high ticket, people actually want less in terms of deliverables. They don't want all the modules. They don't want all the PDF downloads. They don't want the audios from your last 5 events. Right. You know what I'm saying? All they want is like, all right, how do you get me from here to here? And I tell people all the time, people don't pay you. People don't buy based on price. People buy based on like how fast you can help them close the gap.
Right.
So like they're here. How fast can you help me close the gap? And they pay you based on that, not based on the price.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I definitely agree with that. Like, it's cool to have a whole bunch of content, all these different, but if you could just tell me how I can get here to here.
That's it, bro. I done bought courses, and I would log in. I'm like, man, let me just hit this dude up. So I'd be like, look, man, how much is it for a couple hours just to flush this out? You know what I'm saying? Right. You know? How much is it? You know, but he's like $5,000, whatever. I'm like, whatever. All right, bro, let's just have a call. Right. Because I don't want to go through all these modules. Right. You know what I'm saying? Right. It just makes sense. You feel me? So how much is it to hop on the call? My guy Kurt, I paid him. I bought his little thing. And I went through. I'm like, this good. But I just hit him up. I'm like, bro, how much is it for like a call, an hour or two? So you can just walk me through this. Yeah. And he was like, well, it's, I think he said it was $500 an hour or something. I'm like, all right, bet. And like, send me the invoice. Like, how soon can we get on the call? You know what I'm saying? So like, that's, people want the accelerated path. And online, people tell you that you got to sell low ticket first to get people to some high tickets. So you got to go $7, $97, $297, $497. So I'm like, that's totally false. You know what I'm saying? People want the outcome. You know what I'm saying? So why penny pinch them to get them all the way here when you know all this stuff ain't going to get them the real result? You know the high ticket thing gonna get them the result. Right. So why not just sell them that? You know what I'm saying? Versus like having the penny pitch. And we don't buy like that. Like if you want to go buy a whip, you ain't gonna go get a book about the whip first. You ain't gonna go get the hat. Right. You ain't gonna get. They ain't gotta like keep selling you the low ticket. When you go get the car, they ain't gonna be like, well, hey, Mr. Bass, you know what I'm saying? Well, here's our first offer. We wanted to give you the manual so you can just read up on the charger. You know what I'm saying? And then you like, all right, bet. And they be like, hey, you want to add the hat to your order? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? They don't do that. You feel me? Right. They sell you the car. Yeah. It's the same thing. It's literally the same thing, bro.
Yeah. Then depending on how fast you want it to go, if you want it faster, you got more accessories. This is what it price is.
Bingo. And they gonna start you with the high one. They gonna be like, hey, you like to hit me. You know what I'm saying? And you gonna be like, all right, yeah. But then they gonna be like, all right, you like, well, I don't rock it too fast, and then we start inching down. But you start high. They don't come in there like they gonna just give you the one that ain't got the package on it. Right. You're like, hey, bro, you like speed, so we gonna start with the supercharger one. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's how it go.
Makes sense.
Yeah, that's critical. And you know, I don't know. I want to say this like a hustler's mentality, but like even just the first step, it's just like the value that you see in it. It's like, hey, I got to get it back. Mm-hmm. Like when you especially it's like your last. Like,
yeah, bro. I done dropped my last plenty of times. Yeah.
You're right. I gotta get that back.
I gotta get it back, bro. Straight up.
Yep.
It's the first thing I gotta do.
So great stuff. So talk a little bit about Marquel, your program. Like, you know, when they get started, what's the process of taking a coach and consultant and helping them with selling more high ticket online? Like, what's the process that you taking clients through?
So the first thing we do is like I would say the very first thing we do is like that we work on the inner game stuff. Because somebody making like, let's say they're making $5,000 a month or $10,000 a month or whatever, and now they want to go to 50 or 100 grand a month. It's like it's like a lot of inner game stuff. Some people want to just jump right to ads. I'm like, all right, we got to start here first. Because some people are like, well, I don't need the mindset stuff. I don't need the inner game stuff. I just want to grow my business to get more leads. I'm like, well, all right, go drop 30,000 on ads. And they be like, 30,000 on ads. I'm like, well, that show you need the mindset stuff. You know what I'm saying? Because you ain't comfortable dropping 30 grand on ads.
Right.
It's the mindset stuff.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm just saying.
That's real. You know what I mean?
Like, they like 30,000. I'm like,
yeah, man. We wearing a business.
Yeah, it's a mindset issue. So let's take a step back so we can get you ready. And also, if you grow too fast and your inner game stuff ain't right, you're gonna sabotage you anyway. Like I got a buddy of mine, he said anytime his account used to get to 100 grand, he used to go spend it as much as he can to get it back to where his thermostat was set at. Right. You know what I'm saying? Because his mindset stuff wasn't together. You know what I'm saying? So people they'll make all this money and they'll just go splurge. And another guy, he was telling me a couple of weeks ago, he was like when he was working with Mark Hoverson actually, and Mark he had his first $50,000 a month. Or 20,000. I think it was his first $20,000 a month, and he went and told Mark. He was like, "Look, man, I gotta get this. I gotta buy this. I gotta buy this." And Mark was like, "No, man, just let it breathe.
Right.
Get used to having the money in your account. Don't feel like every time you get the money in your account, you gotta go spend it. Right. But that's what we'll do if our inner game and our emotional money stuff ain't on point. You feel me? Right. So that's the first thing we do, and then from there, then we get into the messaging stuff. I'm like, I gotta prepare you to get to 20 grand, 50 grand, 100 grand, 200 grand a month or whatever. So we start there. Now we get into the messaging because most people, they're like, well, I don't need to do the messaging stuff. I need to just do ads. I'm sure you hear that all the time. Yeah. And you're like, bro, your ads ain't working because your messaging is off. Right. And like, why I'm attracting all these broke people? Because your messaging. Right. You know what I'm saying? Well, that's what we start. The messaging is the most important part. They're like, well, I went through such and such Facebook ad course and they didn't talk about the messaging and the avatar and all these different types of stuff. I'm like, well, that's why you're here and that's why it ain't work. You know what I'm saying? You bought their course because of their messaging attracted you. Right. So most people don't realize like the messaging is the most important thing. So we get into the messaging. We get that all flushed out. Right. We got a copy coach on our team who work with them and get all the messaging flushed out and all that good stuff. And then from there, we take that messaging stuff. Like with our 3-day event I was telling y'all about, the first day, it's all messaging. Like literally, we won't even get into building nothing out or nothing to the second day. It's all messaging the first day. So then we get it. So now we get the messaging and now we start building out the client attraction system. And the client attraction system for us is the funnel and the ads and everything like before, between and after, because most people think online you just need the funnel, and I'm like, bro, no, you don't. Right. Like I know you're just seeing some great marketing out there, and they're telling you just one funnel away. Right. That's a lie. Right. You know what I'm saying? You are gonna need more than just a funnel. I saw people in that same group, and dude in the group was like, man, he was pissed off. He was like, look, man, I got my funnel live. You know, I got no leads and no traffic or nothing to it. Well, and we like, hey, how you marketing this thing? This dude hadn't done any marketing. This dude thought that all he had to do was build the funnel and people was going to find it. I'm like, wow. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So you don't just need a funnel. That's number one. And also, you don't just need ads. Right. So some people want to just do ads. And I'm like, well, what you going to drive them to? They pull up their little website, you know, like it's like a little Wix site or something like that. And I'm like, dude, you might as well just give me that money. You know what I'm saying? You're just going to throw this away. You know what I'm saying? You might as well just give it away. So the client attraction system is the ads and the funnel, the follow-up emails, the retargeting stuff. It's like the whole ecosystem. You feel me? So we start building that out. Then we get the ads live, make sure the follow-up stuff is on point. And then we get into like the sales. Like, because obviously now you're going to get all these people coming through. you got to be able to have a conversation with people without, not like a heavy sales conversation, but like a high level leadership enrollment conversation where people will happily give you $3,000 to $10,000 or more in one call. You know what I'm saying? So that's like essentially the whole process. And then flushing out their program. Well, we do this before we even get to the sales, but like flushing out their program where they can actually have a leverage program. So now it's not like they had to do one-on-one, or even they got a service. We work with some services and just showing them how to unpack their service. So now they can systemize it, and it's not just them doing all the delivery.
Right, so it's like that same process, like how you was saying, like when you flush it out, it's like you teach them how to go to group coaching, like you put some type of system together.
Exactly.
What they got going on. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, let me in on this too. Like when you was telling me about, like, what does that mean when he say that he had to get back to his thermostat?
So yeah, so good question. So basically, so one of the young ladies who attended our event yesterday, over this past weekend, and she was saying like, she was like, Marquel, every time I get to a certain amount, I start feeling weird, or I feel like I gotta go out and buy. If I get like a lump sum of money come in, I feel like I gotta go buy some. And I was like, that's your thermostat. So like it's like in the house, right? It's like you set your thermostat to 70 degrees. When the temperature in your house get to 70 degrees, your thermostat do what? It's shut off. So it's like if you say the only amount of money you're comfortable having at one time is $10,000, anything over that, you gonna make sure you blow through it because you got your thermostat set at a certain point.
Exactly.
You feel me? So you got your thermostat set at a certain point, so you automatically go sabotage it. You like, I gotta go to the club. I need to go. You know what I'm saying? You gonna figure out a way to blow that money. You feel me? Especially our people, because we gotta blow it anyway. We're like, oh man, I made 10,000 this month, right. So they go out and spend the whole 10. Right. You know what I'm saying? Right. So it's like that's how the thermostat work, bro. And it's the same thing with like anything. So it's like it's this book called The Big Leap by Gay Hendricks, and he talk about this thing called the upper limit syndrome. And he was like even with relationships, he was like, if you in a relationship and like y'all used to arguing, or you used to arguing in relationships or whatever, if you at a point where you just like, it's like subconsciously you'll just feel like happy, but then your upper limit syndrome will kick in and be like, I ain't supposed to be this happy, and then you'll trigger an argument just because you feel like that's what's supposed to be going on. And it's the same thing with money. Right. Yeah. It's crazy, bro. Yeah. It's crazy. It's the same thing with business, bro. You will sabotage the business. You got the business popping and you like, oh, this I'm getting bored. I need to do something else. I need to try something else. I'm like, well, you got the thing working. Right. Why would you go, try to do something else? Like, you know what I'm saying? And you sabotage it because like you hit your upper limit syndrome. And then your thermostat kicked in. You like, I feel like you always gotta be hustling, and that's why people say I work better when my back against the wall. So when you got that programming, you will build some, blow it, because now you want to feel like you in hustle mode because you told yourself I work better when my back against the wall. Yeah, you feel me?
Right. That makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
That really makes sense. Let me ask you this, Marquel, getting back on the messaging as well. What are some of the issues you see with people in terms of their messaging when they come to you?
So I think a couple things. So I think number one, they so great marketing like attracts and repels at the same time. So most people, they just trying to attract everybody. They're like, well, I don't want to, put myself in the box, or I don't want to leave nobody. I'm like, that's what great marketing does. You feel me? So it's like you're supposed to be speaking to a specific person with a specific problem who want a specific outcome, and they're looking for a specific solution. You know what I'm saying? But most people, they're just trying to get everybody. So it's like when I was in network marketing, I was in a fitness network marketing company, and it was like, well, everybody can stand to you lose 10 pounds. That ain't me. That's partially true. Just because everybody can stand to lose 10 pounds don't mean they want to. Right. So it's like, why market to everybody and you just market to people who already buying fitness stuff? You feel me? They already buying fitness stuff. They already buying powders and, protein powders and shakes and vitamins. Just market to them because they already buying the stuff. You know what I'm saying? So it's like most people ain't speaking to somebody specific. They're not speaking to a specific problem, not speaking to about a specific solution, and a lot of times they're using like jargon, right? So they're speaking like, so it's depending on what level you are and who you're looking to speak to. If you're looking to speak to somebody who's not familiar with the jargon, you will automatically turn them off. So like when I say about jargon, it's like different industries got different words that they use. Right, different language. You know what I'm saying? Exactly. So it's like you in the agency world, you understand like CPC, AOVs,
Right.
you know, CTRs, all that different type of stuff. But if you're talking to a restaurant owner, you know what I'm saying? You can't in your market and be like, hey, you know, if your CTRs are low, you know, and you're trying to increase those and increase your average order value, most of them ain't gonna know what that means. Right. You know what I'm saying? But if you're talking to somebody who been running ads and they're savvy, now you can have that conversation.
Exactly.
But it's like most people just having a conversation where it's not connecting, and a lot of times they too broad or not specific enough. So all that.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
the key is just messaging, man. That's the key.
That's how you get good at moving people without touching them.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? You speak to it, and now you like what you say attracts people, and it's gonna repel the people you don't want.
Yep.
Exactly. There we go.
So like with us, we have people. So like a lot of our marketing, I say stuff like or videos. What I say, you know, we ain't the cheapest person in the market. You know what I'm saying? So if you're looking for somebody cheap, we probably ain't gonna be a good fit. However, we got results. You know what I'm saying? And so now that's the brand we've been able to create. So some people won't even schedule a call with us because they like, look, I know I ain't ready for you right now, you know, but I'm gonna reach out to you when I am. I'm like, well, have you even had a conversation with any of our people?
Right.
And they're like, well, no, I just know I ain't ready. Because they see all we talking about is high ticket stuff, and you know, so they see the messaging. So some people they scared to even have a conversation. And then people then when they telling their people about us, they like, well, they ain't cheap, but they what I'm saying, they get results. So that automatically you create that brand based on the messaging and what you saying, over and over and over again.
Powerful, man. Powerful. I appreciate that. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about funnels very quickly. And what I mean by funnel, let's talk about the funneling process, like you say, in terms of if they using like a click funnels or lead pages or whatever the case may be. Right now, in terms of attracting high ticket clients, what are your clients using right now? They're using VSL, they're using webinar funnel, are they using cheat sheets, ebooks? Like, what are they using right now?
So right now we just doing a VSL. Just a straight VSL case study. It can be we teach too. So we do a talking head video, just like you on camera. That's like the fastest one to do it.
Okay.
And then of course you got the case studies like slideshow presentation.
Right, exactly.
So if you don't want to be on camera, that freaks you out, you can do a slideshow presentation as well.
Gotcha.
And both of them work, but it's just kind of like if you want to crank one out. And when I get the one we got running right now for us personally, we got a I'm on the flip chart. So I'm on camera, but I got the flip chart and I'm going through the flip chart with the markers and stuff like that. So
and that's working well.
Yeah, it's working well. It's like 12 minutes, you know what I'm saying? So ain't nothing long or drawn out, but yeah. So both of those work. So it's like opt in for a case study video to schedule a call, conversation, and so forth.
Right. Now I know I'm saying here with y'all with the lead generation experts right now, but for all those people that probably don't know, what is a VSL?
Yeah.
Good question. That's a good question, bro. We definitely talking about.
We just want to see that marketing coming.
Go back to the messaging, right? We were just talking about the messages.
Right.
So a VSL is a video sales letter. Okay. You know what I'm saying? So online you can read a sales letter. But a VSL is just like a video version of a sales letter. And for those people who are like, what is a sales letter? A sales letter is basically when you're reading something and it's a marketing message, and at the end of it, it's something for sale on it. So it's more like it can be a website. I guess it came with sales letter because it used to be in the direct mail days. They would send you this letter in the mail, and then you read it, and you got to submit something to buy something or call something, whatever. But now you got a digital sales letter where you just reading it like on the website, and then they got a buy button on it. But now a VSL is just a video version of that.
Right.
Oh, okay. Right.
Kind of like it can be positioned as a mini webinar too, depending on how it's set up.
Right. So it depends on like how long it is, or like
not really, because it depends. Because like some people ask me like, how long should it be? I'm like, just long enough to get the point across. You know what I'm saying? Because you ain't gonna be watching like a timer anyway while you recording. You just get in there, you follow this particular formula, and then just get the video done. Just depending on how long it take you to get your point across.
Okay. All right. So let me ask you, like with the funnels, right? Do you do like a case study where you test different funnels out, or it's just something that you already have that's been proven to work?
Yeah, so our funnel is like super simple, right? So it's like it's like 4 pages. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you got the opt-in, and the opt-in is like, all right, I think right now ours is called it says proven tap into our proven system, to get you 50 to 100 leads a day that actually convert into clients. And then we got like, this system has been proven by 446 plus coaches and consultants in multiple different industries. So then they opt in, they watch the case study video. We got a crazy amount of success stories on the page. And then they schedule a call where they click on the button, they apply. Because we got it now position where it's like, it's only invite only. So it's invitation only. You got to apply to join. They click on the button, they apply to join, and then we review the application. And then if the application look good, one of our sellers will reach out to them and then have a quick conversation with them just to make sure it makes sense. And then they'll schedule them for an official call. So it's really like 4 pages, bro. It stuff ain't as complicated as people make it. People think you gotta have an upsell, then you gotta have like 3 upsells, then you gotta have a down sell, then you gotta have a bump offer, and then you gotta have a back. You're like, bro, you don't gotta do all that, bro.
Right.
Like,
Okay.
It don't gotta be that complex. I ain't lying.
That's why you call it a 4-page cash machine.
I'm telling you, bro, that's exactly what it is. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Great stuff. And so you haven't used any automated webinar funnels in a while.
Nope, I ain't use automated webinar because we was doing an automated webinar and we were teaching it too, but it was just too complex. You know what I'm saying? So it was like, all right, dang. Most people, that's where their hang up is, getting their webinar done. Then having to build a funnel out, then integrate stuff, then like with our follow up sequence with the automated webinar, it was like deep, bro. If I showed you, because you use ActiveCampaign, so it's like if you look at like the automation that we had, it was like just so many webs in there, bro. So it was like, all right, if they opt in, they get a tag, right? Then they show up to the webinar, they get a tag. If they saw the offer, they get a tag. You know, if they didn't see the offer, they get a tag. If they became a lead, but they didn't show up, send them this sequence. If they registered, showed up, but didn't see the offer, send them this sequence. If they registered, showed up, saw the offer, but didn't schedule a call, send them this sequence. So it was complex, bro.
It's a lot of steps.
We could wrap our head around it, but like teaching that and duplicating that to other people who may not be as savvy, bro, it was almost impossible. And then just the fact of having to create a webinar was overwhelming for people.
And that's what I was going to tell you as well. Let's explain to our audience, first of all, what an automated webinar is for those that don't even know what it is.
Yeah, so automated webinar is like when you click on the link and you go to a website and it's like a webinar, but it's like nobody's there. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, and what we was doing like what we call just-in-time webinars. So when you click on the link, the webinar says, hey, it's about to start in 5 minutes. Or 10 minutes. Some people do their webinars every hour. We was doing ours like every 15 minutes. So every time they click on the link, it's less than 15 minutes they finna start, and people are like, it's a just in time webinar. When they click on it, they like, oh dang, I'm just in time. You know what I'm saying? So, so they like, okay, I'm gonna get on the webinar now, and it increased your show up because on a regular webinar, on average, you're gonna get like 30% of the people who register to actually show up. With a just in time webinar, we was getting like 70-80% people actually showing up because it was like they ain't had to wait. They could like opt in right then and watch the webinar. You feel me?
So I'm gonna go back a little bit. So I understand what you were saying about it's hard to duplicate that when you got this webinar. Then you gotta teach them how to put a webinar together.
And doing the webinar is just overwhelming for some people. Go ahead.
That is true. That is true. So like the 4-step cash machine funnel process, it's just that, like you say, you just basically whenever offer that they got, that's all they doing. Like they just focusing straight on that.
And we literally give them the whole funnel. So it's like, hey, here's the funnel, here's the templates, let's get this thing recorded, let's boom, 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 and now we can get you live. And now that's when the success stories just go through the roof. Because I think it's like success stories. It's like it ain't like hitting a certain number. Of course, the numbers are important, but it's like the biggest number we look at, like how many people like winning. That's why if you go to our page, it's like success stories. You'll never see me on talking about how much money we making and all that. It's just like success stories, because you simplify it. You know what I'm saying? So I read this quote. It's like it basically says complexity is impressive, but simplicity is genius. So if you want to impress somebody, you make it complicated. But if you want to help them, you make it simple. You know what I'm saying?
That's real.
I love it.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Absolutely.
That's real, man.
Absolutely.
Yeah, bro, for real.
Cool. So I have a couple of more questions for you. A couple of more questions. JC, if you got any as well, you can chime in. Ads. Okay. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on it, but anything that you can share in terms of updates on any new Facebook ad strategies that's working right now for you all or your clients at this time?
Yeah, so what we've been doing a lot is we got this process called the basically called the 5x5x25 method, and I released this our playbook that kind of go into it. And basically it says it's essentially we test it out. So we'll do like 5 different ad sets. And then we'll do 5.
Yeah, let me break that down to them real quick. Ad sets is your targeting with
This your targeting, sir. Correct.
Right?
Yeah. So let me take a step back. So it's like when it comes to a Facebook ad, it's only 3 levels of a Facebook ad.
Right.
No matter how they change the interface or the login or whatever of the setup, it's like you got campaign.
Right.
And then you got the ad set, like G said, is inside of the campaign.
Right.
That's where you choose your targeting and your age and all that good stuff. And where you can also do the budget on the top. Because we're doing a lot of like CBO, which is like campaign budget optimization right now.
Okay.
So you do the budget right here. Then inside of that, the campaign houses the ad set of your targeting. And then inside of your ad set is the actual ad, the actual video or the image and the copy and all that. So we typically doing like 5 different ad sets, and then we'll do like 5 ads in each ad set. It's like 5 different variations of it.
Right.
And then we just let Facebook like optimize for the whole thing, and then we'll see which one of those perform best.
Golden.
Kill all the other ones, and then scale them boys up.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Huge.
So I tell people all the time, bro, Facebook ads or paid advertising anyway is like the #1 way to grow your wealth, bro. Like it's the #1 way. It's like people tell me about real estate, people trying to get me, the stocks. And we got a little stocks, you know what I'm saying? But it's like, real estate is great. And I got some clients who do real estate, and there ain't no shade to real estate. But it's like, it's just tough. I'm just spoiled because I'm like, okay, I can get a property, and this ain't again, let me just be clear. This ain't no shade to real estate because I want me I'm going to get me some real estate, some passive real estate. I got some clients that I'm already having some conversations with.
Right.
And they get it too because I'm like, all right, y'all can invest 30 grand. Let's say I just invest 30 grand in a property. Right. And let's say we put another 20, for the rehab. And then let's say we cash flow, $400-500 a month. So you end up getting, let's call it 12%, 13, 14. Let's say if you're doing really well, let's say you cash flow 20% over the year. With ads, right? And even if we look at it another way, Warren Buffett and Ray Dalio, these are the top investors in the world, right? They get about 12, 13%, upwards, maybe 20%. Obviously, they're playing with big numbers, but that's their ROI, typically on a year. With ads, bro, you can get like 400% return every 30 days. You feel me? So you can drop 30 on ads and make like 120, 150 in a month conservatively. You feel me? You ain't putting your money nowhere getting that type of ROI, bro. Not legit. In the streets, bro, you can't even go get no work and get a flip like that, bro. I don't care how many times you whip it.
You gotta cut it on.
Bro, I don't care how many times you cut it. You ain't gonna get that type of ROI, bro.
Right.
Unless you just flexing folks and you just taking it. Right. You know what I'm saying? But you ain't gonna get that type of ROI nowhere, bro. So you can put, and that's like, I'm talking about a 4X return. That's like conservative. I got some clients who getting like 100X. You feel me? I mean, I'm not saying 100X, but they get like a 15, 200, they get like a 1,500, 2,000 ROI in a 30-day period. You ain't going nowhere getting that type. I got a client who put 5,000 in ads and made 40. And this is his first time ever running ads. Like, where you do that at, bro? Like, I got another client, she told me, she was on my panel this weekend, she put, this month, she's invested 500 and some change in ads. She'd have made 29,000. Like, where you gonna do that at?
Yeah.
Like, come on, bro. Where you gonna do that at, bro? Nowhere.
Yeah, like I said, I gotta rethink some things.
I'm telling you, bro. It ain't nowhere else you can launch at, bro. I'm telling you, bro. I got some screenshots from yesterday. I already posted in the group. This one lady, she said, we just launched these ads last night. One lady got 5 scheduled calls already. One other lady, she done generated like 10 leads. I already got a scheduled call. Another lady got a scheduled call already. I'm talking about, it's nowhere else you can test the offer And like you launch with ad, you want to test a new offer, throw some ads at that thing and see how it convert.
Right.
Like you get immediate feedback. Like back in the day, bro. That's why I tell people we're in the best time ever to be alive. Even with all this stuff people saying going on, throw 2020 away. I'm like, bro, y'all tripping, but it's our best year ever.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? In the midst of this, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, y'all tripping. I'm like, throw it away. I'm like, bro, like we having our way out here. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, hey, bro, God has been good.
Yeah.
Right in the middle of all this, you feel me? So I'm like, bro, like it's like you can literally, bro, it's just a beautiful time to be alive. Cause like here's an example. So back in the day, of course, I know G especially study. You do, I know you as well. Both of y'all study like ancient. I was probably shouldn't say ancient, but like old school marketing, like old school marketers, like the Dale. I mean, like the Ogilvy's and you know those cats, right?
Yeah.
These cats to test a campaign to see if it worked back in the day. They just had to order direct mail, the Dan Kennedys and all that, right? They just had to, let's say for example, they just had to buy like 1,000 pieces. That's what they used to call it. 1,000 pieces of direct mail for whatever amount. Right. They just had to go out and get postage. They had to write the sales letter, get postage, and then go to the mail, the post office, and then mail these out. Now, obviously, that's gonna take 3 to 4 days, 5 days, depending on what your postage you get to get to the people. Right. Now the people got to go to the mail. They got to open it up. They got to read your letter, and then it says, "Hey, if you're interested in this, cut this out, fill it out, and then mail it back to us." Right. So now these people got to cut this thing out, fill it out, go to their post office, put their $2 or whatever in for postage, mail it back. Now they gotta wait till you get it, right? And then you gotta deliver. And now you gotta see how many of those replies you get. Right. You feel me? Exactly. And they was looking at like a 2% like response rate or something like that. 2-3%. That was a great response rate. But look at the amount of time you gotta wait. Yep. Bruh, we launched these ads last night. These folks already got scheduled calls coming in. It ain't even been 24 hours. That's the power we got when it comes to paid advertising, bro. It gets no better.
Yeah. It just blows me away.
It gets no better, bro. I swear it gets no better. Straight up.
Absolutely.
Oh boy.
Cool, boy. I'm loving it. So the last couple of questions I have on my end, and JC, if you have anything, let's talk about the sales, right? So with your clients in terms of the sales calls. This is just throwing it out there. Like, how many calls do like your clients have to do? Let's say, like in the beginning stages, of getting into doing the strategy session calls, discovery calls, etc. How many calls do they normally have to do before they may say, okay, we may need to tweak some things here, or you know what I mean? Like, a lot of times people do the strategy session calls, discovery calls, they're not really landing any clients. Yep. Like it might be 20 calls, 30 calls. So how many calls do you justify that they need to do? Yeah. Before they say, well, something right.
So basically what I tell them is like, I'm like, do 20 calls minimum for you change anything. 20 calls like doing the call the right way. Right. Cause like you got some cats, they not following the script. They trying to do it their own way. I was telling the client the other day, we was on call and I'm like, pitch me. Cause she was like, I ain't making no sales. I'm having a lot of calls. I'm like, all right, pitch me. So she get like 40-cent lead. She get like scheduled calls for like $8. I'm like, your number's crazy. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, pitch me. So she pitches me. So I'm like, hey, send me the link to your script, like in the chat, to your Google Doc. She sent it to me. I'm looking at it. I'm like, hey, this is like the exact script that I gave you. Like, you ain't edited it or nothing. Yo. And she like, no, I'm just, I just kind of freestyle it when I get to the offer. Oh, I'm like, that's why nobody ain't buying. Right. Because every call you have, you pitching a new offer. Right. You feel me? You freestyling the offer. Right. The way you get better is like with the same offer over and over and over. It's like shooting a shot. You get better with the shot by shooting the same shot over and over and over to the point where you can shoot it with your eyes closed because you done shot this shot 1,000 times. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. That's why Steph go out there and shoot 400 shots before the game. So when the game started, he wet. Like he done shot this thing 400 times before the game even started. Exactly. You feel me? So I'm telling her like you got to do that. So and then you got some people who just smart. They're like, well, they just smart. So in their mind, they can just do it better. They don't got to ask that question or they don't got to do it in this syntax. So they can ask this question first versus asking the question that it say ask first. So I tell people like when you're following the process, it's not only just the process, but it's the syntax also. So it's like it's not just the sequence of the script, but the syntax in terms of like the order of the questions you ask. Right. So it's like this question say number 1 And this question say number 2 for a reason.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
It don't mean they ask this question first and then that question.
Right.
Bruh, these things are numbered
Right.
for a reason. You feel me?
Right.
So do it like that. So to answer your question, doing the script the right way, at least 20 calls. Because I had people that were like, well, Mark, well, I had 8 calls, I had 9 calls, I ain't had no sale. I'm like, all right, look. Do at least 20 calls and let's see what happens. And she came in and her 11th call was a deal. Then her 13th call was a deal. Then the 17th call was a deal. She ended up doing like 40 grand or something that month or whatever. But I was like, she was almost finna quit. But it's like, you got to give yourself time to get enough reps.
Right.
And to kind of get enough statistically significant data to be like, all right, I need to change something. And actually have data. So the biggest thing for us, our clients can't come to the call talking about, well, I don't feel like this working, or I feel like this, or so. The first thing we want to know is what's the numbers. We're like, I pull up your spreadsheet. Let's look at the numbers. Let's see what's real, because feelings ain't really real all the time.
Right.
You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And we can't do conceptual. I can't give you feedback based on conceptual. I'm like, pull up your spreadsheet. Let's look at the numbers. And now I don't just want to look at your Facebook numbers inside the ad account, because those numbers ain't always accurate.
Right.
So it's like, pull up
Exactly.
your spreadsheet, the one we gave you, and let's look at those numbers. How many calls have you done? Well, I think I did about 11. Now, I don't want to know how many you think you've done.
Right.
I want to know exactly how many calls have you done.
Right.
How many scheduled calls, how many applications did you get? How many people showed up to the call? How many, did you make an offer? How many bought? And when you figure out the real numbers, it's far less than what they say. They're like, well, I think I did about 14 calls. I'm like, well, all right, let's look at the numbers. After we flush the numbers, like they did 3 calls.
Oh, wow.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, well, we need to know the real numbers. We can't make no decisions without the real number. And I ain't always used to be that guy. I was in the mastermind one time, and I had dropped like 25 grand on the mastermind. And every time I used to go, I never had my stat, because I was always telling myself I ain't a spreadsheet guy. They ain't really my thing. So I used to show up without my numbers. And I used to be like, well, I think, about this. They'd be like, how much you spent on that? Well, I spent about this, and I had a little Google Doc. Oh, I spent about this, and I got about this. And they like, dude, we need like the real numbers, because if not, we pissing in the wind. I can't give you no feedback on the strategic growth standpoint without the numbers. So now we really granular with the numbers now. So it's like, we need to know, all right, we can really look at our numbers for this year and last year, and we can know what's our average lead cost, what's our average cost cost to get a scheduled call, what's our cost to get to actually get a client, what's on average, how many applications do we cancel. So it's like, we can get like super granular, you know what I'm saying? So the answer, I know it's a super long answer to your question, but yeah, 20, at least 20 bare minimum before we start changing anything.
Good stuff, man.
Right. And see, that one thing, like Mark Cuban even said, that I even took away from him, is like, when you running any business, you gotta know your numbers.
Yeah. Oh, you don't got no business, bro.
You have no business if you don't know your numbers.
Yeah, you
Exactly.
can't be like, because when you go in the Shark Tank, the first thing they ask you, like, all right, what's your numbers?
Right.
How much it cost you to get a customer? They were like, well, we don't know. They're like, I'm out. You know what I'm saying? You gotta know your numbers. You need to know, like, and then you see a lot of cats online. They like, well, we made 500 grand this month, and that was just sales. You know what I'm saying? How much cash collected was it? And they started looking at the cash collected. It was like 50 grand. The rest of it was just like contracts.
Exactly.
So now, if you making decisions based on 500 grand, you're gonna be dead in the water, because you ain't got the cash flow coming in. So you need to know, all right, we got this cash collect. We made this amount of sales, right? We gonna collect on it, but this how much cash collected we got. And now you make decisions based on, the cash collected, obviously. You feel me? Obviously you can project, but you need to know based on the cash collected.
Right.
Right. So I'm trying to think about the mentality of the clients that wasn't following the script, right? So these calls that you're talking about, the offers, this is like, when you saying calls, these are the group sessions.
Meaning when it comes to the calls, or like the sales calls.
So like, is it all right? So when they go through, when the leads come through, all right, and you saying like how many calls did they did for a week?
Right.
So is the like what is that? Is that group sessions?
No, them the sales calls. So them the enrollment calls.
Right.
So it's like that people came through their system, scheduled a call, and then they got on the phone and kind of walked them through the enrollment process.
Right, and so you have a list of questions in order on how they should talk.
Absolutely.
Okay, so do you think it may be like any type of psychology where when you get in on the phone with a client, where they may be talking so much and they kind of like answer a question already, or you feel like just like how the mood of the conversation may be going?
Right. So great point. So it's a great point. So to your point, sometimes people answer a question so you don't gotta ask it, right?
Yeah.
So I don't. So even with the probing questions, it's like here's a list of probing questions. You don't gotta ask all of these, but like this is the process. So you want to make sure you're following the process, and you also want to make sure you're going 4 to 5 layers deep. So if somebody say, well, what brought you to the call today? And they're like, well, what makes you want to work with us? And they're like, well, we just want financial freedom. You know, and some people are stopped there, and they be like, oh, okay, cool. And they'll move on to something else. Be like, well, now, what does financial freedom look like to
Exactly.
you? Well, $10,000 a month. Well, how you come up with that number?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
How would that change your life?
Right.
You know, the fact that you're not making $10,000 a month right now, how's that affecting other areas of your life?
Right.
Well, my wife want to get my job. Well, how long you been trying to get your wife out for a job?
Right.
What's your wife's name? What does she do for a living? Does she like her job? You know what I'm saying? So these questions that come, those type of questions ain't even in the script. That's why I always tell people like the best question is gonna come from the conversation, but you
Right.
still got a guide. But now you listening and present. You ain't on the call like, oh, I'm finna hit him with this question next. I'm finna hit him with this question next. No, you just listening.
Right.
And then you ask questions based on the conversation. You feel me?
Exactly.
Right. And let me just ask you, like, did you get that
So we had ET come speak at the last one, and then that went real well. And then what we did from there, we rolled out the Young Wealthy Genius, program. Because my biggest thing is I didn't want to keep doing events where we got them excited about the possibilities and all the different type of stuff, but we didn't have like nothing afterwards. You know what I'm saying? It was just an event. So we rolled out the program. We tested it out. It started to go really well. I had some mentors who was working individually with the kids, and then it didn't go the way we wanted it to go. So slowly but surely, it kind of just started to fall. Not, I wouldn't say fall apart, but we just kind of stopped doing it. Now we're at a place where I'm ready to start rolling it back out, but I'm just working on having, because like one of the kids' parents reached out to me. She's like, we need to get with the jeans back going on. I got some time I can help with it. So now I'm just working on like the team, having the team in place, because I wouldn't be able to always show up, do the call. So I want to have it structured where we got the committed kids, we got the parent, we got the team in place. So now we can actually deliver at a high level. So we'll probably kick off and do our next one like next year. Because right now it's already June, right? Right. So we'll probably do it like next year, or just depend. We may do one this year, but we know with everything going on, I didn't want to do it virtually. That's number one. I want to do it in person. So we'll see kind of how this COVID stuff happened and all this was going on. Right. If we do one this year, or if we kick it back off next year. But when I kick it back off and we do it, I want to make sure the program is laid out. So now we can enroll them into the program at the event. And now we immediately get it going with them, working with the mentors, and they getting the resources and so forth. Because I think the biggest thing for kids, man, is like, or our youth, especially people where we come from, is like exposure. Like they don't really know what's possible. All they know is like you can rap, or you can go play ball or whatever. But they don't know. Like out of last one, we had ET speak. Obviously, we had the one brother who drive NASCAR. So how often you see a black NASCAR driver? So we had a brother, he drive NASCAR. He came with his NASCAR fit on and everything. I had my guy Idris come. I think Idris. Y'all probably know Idris. Mm-hmm. So Idris used to play for the Colts. So Idris was there. My guy Unc came. He did a meditation. He came with the dreads and the suit. Because he do like yoga and meditation. So he came. That's how he rocked all the time. Mm-hmm. So he was there. And then also I had Calvin was there. Mm-hmm. And then also I think he was there too, bro. And Calvin brought because I'm like, man, because I was trying to get my bro DJ to come because he's still in the streets. So I still want to have some people to come. Who's still in the streets too. Because and then Calvin brought my guy what's my guy name? I forgot his name. But he came in, so we did the whole panel or whatever. And because my whole approach with the youth program is like, look, I ain't here trying to be your daddy. I ain't here trying to tell you what to do and what you shouldn't do. I just want to show you, based on your decisions, what can happen. So like you got with this path, you know what I'm saying? And this what can happen if you do this route. Or if you take this path and you want to be in the streets or whatever, and you decide to go sell drugs or rob or be in gangs after that, that's your business. You just won't be able to say you didn't know no better, or didn't nobody ever give you no opportunities. Yep. You better choose. And I got little homies who I done tried to help, and now they got prison sentences. I got one who got caught up with a body, one who got like 15, and they like, now I'm just sending them books or whatever. I'm like, look, when you come home, bro, you got to come home with your head right, or gonna be the same situation because you further behind when you come home. So like that's my whole approach with that, like just exposure, and those who really want to step up and take advantage of the resources. Yeah. That's how we do that.
All right, awesome.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. Mm-hmm. Appreciate it, man. This has been a wonderful conversation, man.
For sure, bro.
Oh yeah.
Got a lot out of it. Yep. We got a lot out of it. Our audience got a lot out of it. We definitely appreciate you, Marquell, my brother.
Absolutely,
Chill,
bro.
Of course.
Absolutely,
as well.
Bro. Absolutely, bro.
Definitely appreciate you, brother.
Absolutely.
And JC, did you have anything else?
Nah, we can go ahead. If you want to wrap it on up, we.
Cool. So Marquell, if you can, man, just share with everyone where they can find you at.
Yeah. And, so basically, I know we talked a lot about ads and marketing and stuff like that. So if you got a business and you want to get more clients, or you want to get more leads, I got a free playbook. It's called the Paid Ad Playbook. Basically breaks down how you can get 50 to 100 leads for a day per your business to actually convert into clients. So we break down our whole process. So if you want that, you can go to paidadplaybook.com. So PAID ad playbook.com, and you can get access to that for 100% free. And I'm on social media. So if you follow me on, connect with me on IG at marquellrussell.com, MarquellRussell. Connect with me on IG, Facebook, you know, whatever your favorite social media platform is. I'm Marquel Russell on everything. So yeah, reach out to me.
There it is. Well, we definitely appreciate you again, brother, man.
Absolutely, bro.
man.
Absolutely, bro. Absolutely, bro.
We have a certain standard for the type of people we want to bring on the Rise of the 1% podcast, man. You definitely fit right
For sure, bro.
in that category.
I'm honored, bro. I'm honored, bro. And it's beautiful. What's beautiful is I remember when you started the Rise of the 1%
Right.
concept. So
Exactly.
see you still sticking. I remember the first time you hit me up, you like, bro, what you think about the Rise of 1%? What you think about it? And I remember you started doing the weekly interviews,
Right.
you know, and now you start the membership, the mentor program, and
Right.
now you just this thing just continue to bubble up. The event,
Absolutely.
you know what I'm saying? You just turn this thing into a whole lifestyle. So it's been good to see.
Appreciate you,
For
bro.
sure.
Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you. Well, definitely with that said, if you all got value out of this, you know, feel free to share this around. Also, you know, if you're on iTunes, you got a lot of value, make sure you give us a 5-star rating. You know, the video, in terms of the video, make sure you bang that like button. Drop any comments below of your biggest takeaways from Marquel today, or any questions that you may have. Just drop them below in the comment section. And besides that, you know, you can visit our site as well, theriseof1%.com. More information over there on our academy and how we're massively helping businesses grow as well. And besides that, we'll definitely see you all on the next episode. Thank you all for tuning in. Have a great day on purpose.